Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Mursalin and I'm from NSU Talks. And in today's webinar, we are collaborating with NSU Startups Next. And in this particular webinar, we would be talking about startup essentials. Now, startup essentials have been ranging from marketing to fundraising to even technological aspect. So we would be trying to touch on these various aspects brought to you by our various panelists. So let me begin this show by introducing to you to our esteemed panelists. First and foremost, we have Mr. Samuel Mursalin, sir, who is currently serving as the coordinator of NSU Startups Next, and he's also a lecturer from the Department of Management. We also have Mr. Syed Imamuzzaman, sir. He's also the lecturer from the Department of Management. We also have alongside us Faym Bappi, the co-founder and CEO of Hypescout. Thank you so much to each and every one of you to join us in this particular discussion.
Thank you,
And
Zidan, for
Pleasure is
having
all
us.
ours. Thank you.
thank you, sir. I would like to start the questionnaire with Samuel, sir. So, sir, in accordance to you, what are the attributes required to become a successful entrepreneur? And also, if you could like to talk a bit about NSU Startups Next, as per what it actually is and what it actually does, because I believe there are a lot of freshmen who are coming to North South University who might not be fully aware about NSU Startups Next. So, sir, if you would like to begin.
All right, thank you, Zidan, for giving me the floor. It feels really great to come back to this platform for the second time. So I'll answer your second question first, which is what is NSUSN? So North South University Startups Next is an incubator that incubates startups. So we invite innovative ideas that can change the landscape of Bangladesh and even beyond our national borders. So we're looking for tech-based innovative ideas that can solve pressing problems for hundreds or thousands or could be even millions of people. So we have guided mentorships. These mentors that we have at NSUSN, mostly they are from the national ecosystem as well as the global entrepreneurial ecosystem as well. So we have mentors from companies like Google, from Uber, from Amazon, and tons of others. And from the local arena, we had mentors from companies like Batao and tons of others, ShareTrip, iFarmer, and so on. So these are the mentors that guide the startup founders at NSUSN. Faym Bappi is obviously one of them. So you would hear more from him regarding these mentorship sessions. And we have another internal Startups Next team that looks after these startups. So starting from KPIs. So we have some key performance indicators that we set for these founders every week. And this internal team works with the startups and makes sure that the startup founders fulfill those KPIs and they show significant progress over a certain period of time. So that is what the internal SN team does. So that in a nutshell is your NSU Startups Next. In a nutshell, we try to incubate startups and make sure that they can run by themselves eventually. Another important factor that I should touch upon is the investors network. So initially, we provide a grant money to these startups, which is absolutely free of equity or free of any kind of liability. And after that, we ensure that these startup founders get linked with investors to raise funds in the future. So that is another aspect that we try to look after these startups graduate from NSUSN. So that would be NSUSN briefly. Now, moving on to your first question, which was what are the qualities required for an entrepreneur to be successful? Now, that's a very subjective matter. You can touch upon a ton of things that are required. So I'll not touch upon the usual stuff that we all probably know, like your leadership, your teamwork, communications, effective operational workflow and stuff. So these are stuff that all of us know about. So from my experience, what I've seen at NSUSN is there has to be a certain growth of your knowledge every day. That is very important for the startup. So if you are, say, for example, a startup like Hypescout, for example, right? You also need to focus on the stock market of US. Now, you may think that they are not related at all, right? But when you focus on the stock market of United States, you will see that there are companies that are focusing on activities like programmatic advertising. Right, now this is a concept that most of you would actually don't know about, right? But it's a very what's it called? It's a very relevant concept to the marketing world, right? And you may find out this company that is doing excellent in this field of programmatic advertising that could in turn become relevant to a company like Hypescout, right? So this progression of knowledge every day is very important. So you look after your competitors, you look after your landscape, you look after the international arena where similar other companies are doing different kinds of stuff, right? So you need to be fully aware of all the things that are happening around you, which would contribute to your progression of knowledge. That would be one. Number two would be financial literacy. So I've seen a lot of startups who come up with brilliant ideas, very nice business models, good activities to attract customers, fantastic go to market strategies, but eventually they suffer in financial literacy. So when they get their rounds of investments, they just do not know how to use these funds. So eventually they actually end up consuming more than required, right? So just a basic example, say for example, you need Amazon Web Services, right?
Mhm.
Now, straight away, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to AWS and get the cheapest package available, right? Now, oftentimes we get the same packages free of cost if we just look around for the right network and packages, right? So how these founders are utilizing their money, that comes from the financial literacy side. So that part also becomes very important. The third and the most important factor that I feel is very much required is knowledge on technology. Because startups, whatever we talk about, starting from agriculture to an influencer marketing platform like Hypescouts, these technological factors are very important. So it doesn't matter if you're a CEO or you're a CTO, the technology part is very important. Now, over here, I'm not expecting everyone to know stuff like artificial intelligence. That's just not what we are talking about. But a CEO should know the application of the artificial intelligence at least, right? Now, we're not asking the CEO to code. We're just asking the CEO to know what the application of artificial intelligence is, what 3D printers can do, right? What cloud computing, what cybersecurity can do. So the applications, right? So these important factors, like related to technology, is also very important for successful entrepreneurs. So, yep.
Samuel sir touched a bit upon the technological aspect in regards to startups. So I would like to ask Imam sir, how important do you believe a technological team is in regards to startups? Is it a necessity these days to have a technological team?
Yes, thank you once again for having us and having me as well. So, very important question you have asked in the startup and the entrepreneurship. So, tech, we are living in a developing country. We are not developed country yet. So, we live in a modern century where tech is playing a vital role in everyone's life. And new forms of startup is a technology. If we talk about Bangladesh, so if you see maximums are tech based startups, service based যেটাকে বলে. So basically if you want to depending on the idea, first of all take depending on the idea, and এখানে যখনই take এর কথা চলে আসে, the first thing comes about the budgeting. So if the founder itself came from a tech background, so it's become very easy from the beginning for a startup because of the fund. Because as Samuel said about the CTO, so if you want to hire or recruit a CTO, it's expensive. It's a very mid-level post. So you have to pay a good amount as expense or salary or whatever you say. So if the founder, like 2, 3 members are friends together, one is a tech guy, So that's the startup, and I believe that's gonna help everyone. But almost all the startup are tech based. Like if you talk about Patao, our ex NSU, or like Shuttle, all technology based. You can do outsource it, yeah, or you can have an outsourcer. Kind of there is a gap about it. If you do outsource, sometimes maybe your figure or infrastructure can be copied sometimes. So you need your own team which is dedicated for your business. But the startup company, they must have their own in-house team, so that if any strategy they want to change it, if they want to develop their apps, so they can do it rather than doing from the outsource. So if outsource, it gonna cost them more. So যদি in-house one team member from the owner side, from the management, especially for the post for CTO যদি থাকে, and মিনিমাল এমভিপি যেটাকে বলি আমরা, মিনিমাম ভায়াবল প্রোডাক্টটা যদি they can be done by it, as new form of startup is tech, business growth it's become more easy while using the apps. Like for example, the biggest example all over the world, COVID-19 situation. With technology, we can have all the access sitting at home. Like if you need medicine, if you need doctor appointment, if you need any service, grocery items, any ambulance service, anything, you're getting through technology. So all apps based. So technology plays a vital role in startup, no matter what. So you guys know about USP, where user friendly listening, whether the IT department, the CTO always work. Like I think 1 year back there was a case about Patao in the Daily Star. So they have a 1,500 plus employee. As a startup company in Bangladesh, it's very rare to have 1,500 employee as a startup, although they have to minimize it due to the COVID and other situation. But 1,500 employee, it's a huge as like startup. So that's how I think technology playing an impact in all the startup in Bangladesh, not only in Bangladesh, in all over the world. And it's the main vital role for doing any type of business, especially startup.
I think Sir had answered the question in regards to technology wonderfully. I think besides technology, another key aspect in regards to having a startup is marketing. So in regards to that, I would like to ask a question to Faym here, that in accordance to you, what is the importance of marketing research and how did it help you to develop your product or service, since you are currently serving as the CEO of Hypescout?
Right. So first of all, thank you so much, Zidan, for inviting me to talk here. I feel really honored. So thank you so much. So besides marketing research, I think research in general is like really important, whether it's for marketing or for product development or for overall business, right? Because it gives you an overall idea of the playground and your competitors before you even start playing the game. Also, it helps you to predict the outcome of what you are doing, right? It helps you to identify the potential threats and also explore the potential opportunities. For marketing particularly, we, the marketers, do extensive research on the market, on the consumer behavior, and also on the competitors. And that's very important, I believe, because if you don't research the market, then you will never know if the people actually need your product or the service that you are offering right now. When you see the people who need your service, then the next question comes, do they actually want your product or your service? Because there might be some other companies who are providing the same product or service at a cheaper price, right? And then why would people come and buy your product? So that's the biggest question that you need to ask as a marketer, that we believe. So what additional values that you are offering to your customers, that's really important to understand. If you have some USP for your product that differentiate your brands from others, then you will know what message you should deliver to your customers through marketing. So that's why I believe market research is really important before you start promoting your brand or business. So this will help you to design your marketing strategy in the long run as well. And after you are done with the market research, I think you need to research your consumer behavior, right? For example, you need to find out how frequently your potential customers buy similar products like yours. Do they use your products or service repeatedly? Are they happy with the current products that exist in the market? how likely they move to better products or better solutions, how much do they spend right now, and how much will they will they be willing to pay if you offer them a better product or service, etc. So that's the consumer behavior that you need to research on before you build your marketing strategy, so that you can communicate properly with your TG. And at last there comes your competitors. I think you need to research on them about like what are the things that they are doing right, and what are the things that they have done wrong in the past, so that you can learn from their lessons. So, and also, how are they acquiring their customers, how are they communicating with their TG, what are some of their USPs that that they're heavily promoting to their customers. Gather all those information you can about your competitors, and once you have enough knowledge of that, now you can find out your competitive advantages and build your marketing plan accordingly. However, analyzing your competitors doesn't necessarily mean like you'll have to copy them. You can just get ideas or take inspiration, but we marketers do not like to copy what other competitors are doing. And when it's about marketing your product, right? Yeah, I think you should not bother much of what your competitors are doing, but I think what you should do is like focus what's in front of you. Because once one of my mentors said, like think like you and your competitors are in a car race, right? And where you occasionally look at the rear mirror of your car to check out what your competitors are doing right now. But most of the time you need to focus on what's in front of you, because if you spend too much of your time looking at your competitors, then they will most likely win the race. While doing market research for Hypescout particularly, what I found was actually nothing, because especially for Bangladesh market, the concept that we are working with is relatively newer concept here. But I had domain knowledge of 4 years of marketing, so I knew that the problem I was trying to solve actually existed, right? Because I have faced the same problem several times in my life while hunting for influencers and collaborating with them. Even though I had domain knowledge, I asked a couple of my colleagues from similar industries, and they said that if every now and then they have faced the same problem too. I mean, that was also a part of research, one kind of research, right? So it gave me an idea about the market, and I didn't have many options to analyze my competitors here in Bangladesh, because here we happen to be the only company that is trying to address the influencer marketing issues right now and trying to solve those issues. So even though I didn't have any competition in Bangladesh, I had to research the global competitors that I may have in the future. So yeah, I think research is really important, but you gotta also need a fast execution. So and I also believe like every member in your team should know how to research, because nowadays doing research is not like a rocket science, because things that you need to research on probably are already on Google. So you probably may need to just search. You may probably need to know like how to search on Google. So that's what it is nowadays. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So thank you so much.
That certainly does, Fahim. And you such an important point that every member of the team should know how to research. In regards to membership or in regards to team building, I feel that is one of the core issues when a person thinks about having a startup, is to find the right team. So my next question would be in accordance to that line. I would like to ask Samuel, sir, that what leads to formulating the correct or right team? Is there any method to formulating a right team in regards to having your own startup? Because that is a very essential aspect of finding your own startup.
Well, honestly, there isn't a magic formula that we can use to detect the perfect team. But from the top, when we see that there is a team of co-founders who have cross-functional skills, so say, for example, one has marketing knowledge, another one has knowledge in finance, another person has knowledge in technology. That is a good foundation for a co-founding team. So if you have a cross-functional team who have knowledge in different kinds of activities, that does help the startup. But even if you are mostly coming from similar background, that isn't like end of the world. But you will always find people who can take care of the jobs that otherwise you cannot do. But having people who have different knowledge, who have different kinds of expertise is very important. That will be one. Number two would be ability to listen. So we actually have a metric at NSUSN that how much is a particular team coachable. Oftentimes we get a lot of budding founders, they're very aspiring, high ambitions and so on. But the issue over there becomes how much can they actually take in, right? So if they think that their ambitions are good enough to take their startups to the international arena, oftentimes that does not work, right? So the ability to listen is also very important. So team coachability over here becomes a very important aspect. Now, the founders that we have just talked about, so these founders, whether they are coachable, are they listening? So that is also a very important aspect for the overall team. Another important aspect becomes the ability to say no. Right now, oftentimes this is the difficult part. So as a team, um, an idea that you initially thought can be very good, but after doing this marketing research, as Faym Bappi was talking about, you realize that the idea is just not going to work. Now, as a team, do you have that courage to pivot? Do you have that courage that is required for this startup to change this idea and take it to a totally different idea that the market wants, right? So this crunch decisions also become a major attribute of the overall founding team. So can you say no to the idea? Can you change the team towards a totally different direction? So again, as I was saying, there is no magic formula for teams, but cross-functional skills and ability to say no. These two things can go a long way for the startup founding teams.
I think besides team formation, I think finance is also a major factor when it comes to startups. And my next question would be to Imam sir, in accordance to that. Uh, Sir, in accordance to you, what is the role of financial statements for startups and how to determine a startup's cost and other expenses? Sir, if you could like to
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, so two part of the questions. So first of all, what is the role of the financial statement for a startup? As Faym Bappi is here, so he knows about the marketing objective. So before he start his business, marketing objective, future year, basically 3 years or projection 5 years, pro forma statements. First of all, the purpose of financial statement is to communicate the state of the business. The first three things it's in the bookish knowledge we teach to our student. Number one is a balance sheet. Three important thing of financial statement. Number one is balance sheet. Number two is an income statement where you can project the profit and loss statement. And number three, cash flow statement. This is the bookish knowledge we always teach to our student. The most three important part. Rather that for a startup company, financial statement also play a vital role beside the tech because you need the management fund first. You need yourself a some fund so you can start your own business. Then comes about cash capital, your working capital. How you gonna do in this century? The main costing goes to the promotion cost, advertising and all peer cost. How you do it? If you have a good peer, if you have a good network of friends, good network of your relative, so that they can do it without the money thing. So it's also expense. You have to do it while promoting your business idea, like startup. Then management fund, number one, because if you have a fund, you will not get the investor at the very beginning in the early stage. So when you will show the revenue, investor always look for the revenue. If you can show in the fiscal 3 years or 5 years projections, there are 10 times revenue part by part. So investor got okay, so it's a good company. They have a future projections, right? So based on that, there is like fixed asset as well. Like when you're gonna do a company, maybe a product based or service based, you need fixed costs. Like if you want to buy laptop, if you want to buy software, if you want to rent a house for your office or office for or factory wise, whatever. So these are the fixed costs. Then comes about the pro forma statement. I always already said about it. Excuse me. And cash capital sales. Due to cash capital, you can projections yourselves. Then for that, in the tech, I have given example 1500 employee in the Patal. So they have a huge sales. That's why they have acquired 1500 employee. If they don't have that sales, they started their business in the delivery first. Then they add projections with the motorbike. Then they add car. Then they add food delivery. So step by step, at a time, they got a fund. They have got a foreign fund as well, and they liquidize in a perfect way. So that's why it's a big company now. So for a startup, so these are the points they have to go, and they have to remember one thing: the PR cost, like the advertising cost, that's going to cost 60%. And another second question of your part, how to determine a startup cost and other expenses. It depends. It's totally depends how you do it, because it's depending on the idea first. Maybe it's a tech base, obviously software related, the expense will be there. Then if you have a, in the beginning, if you have a good number of employee, then salary comes up. So in the beginning, if you have a founder and 2-3 teams, dynamic teams, they're going to work day and night. So at that time, that's become in the early stage, it's very prominent for the company as well. They're dedicated. Later on, you have a group member of it. Then company can do outsource rather having the the all-time employee. They can outsource some of the software or HR consultancy or marketing objective, like Faym Bappi said. So marketing objective, another important thing. Businessman, startup, even though if you don't know the business, you have a good idea, you can talk to your friends. Hey, this is my idea. Can you help me out? Or you can talk to your mentor, your uncle or relative, anyone. So this is my idea. So you can do outsource marketing objective, marketing consultancy, HR consultancy, IT consultancy to reduce the cost and other expenses so that you can start your business. While you start your own business, when first year there will be maybe no profit, no profit. Second year, maybe no profit, but you have to show 3 years or 5 years pro forma statement where you can see the growth, the GP. So growth profit, if the revenue is going, step by step. So investor in the future, what's the starter thing? You will get the fund from different investor. Maybe it's a foreign from a local. You can share, sell your shares to them, and you can make your company big day by day. That's all about the financial statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the question. And sir, you touched a bit upon like Patho as per how its growth led to its increase of finances. So my next question would be in accordance to that. To Fahim, since you're the co-founder of your own company, how important do you think is fundraising or the role of fundraising in regards to a startup?
Well, the answer to this question, I think, differs from company to company. For startups, I believe it's really important to raise funds. I mean, every now and then, because you will probably run out of money to bring substantial amount of growth, right? So the importance of fundraising depends on the nature of your business and the current state of your business, right? Because some businesses do great without even raising a single penny. While the other businesses may either face a huge loss or bring 10x revenue in return. I mean, if you own SME business, then you may need not to need to look for raising funds, but because you probably have acquired a certain number of customers in your reach, and you have most likely already past your break-even point and making a profit at this moment, right? So this is the type of business where you don't need additional money until or unless you see a scope to scale your business, which requires a good amount of capital. And then there is this another type of business that we call startups, right? So where its goal is to solve a very big problem, that can cater to millions of people, and also can scale to or expand to other regions as well. So businesses like this require a huge initial capital and a fast growth. And in order to bring that growth fast, the founders often run out of capital. So that's when they need another round of funds to keep the company running until it reaches its threshold. Besides, if you have raised funds before, you would know, I mean, there is this accountability to your investor what keeps you pushing your boundaries and doing great things in the business, right? So besides, sometimes you need to raise funds, to survive and to keep up with your competitors in the market as well. So I think from a founder's perspective of a startup, I think fundraising is really important based on the nature of your business and the current status of your business. You also need to have a projections like by what time you will be running out of money, so that you can prepare yourselves and the team and your product to raise the next round of funds for your business. So yeah, I think fundraising is important, but it is based on the nature of your business and definitely the current status of your business. Thank you.
Thank you, Faym bhaiya. And I think another important aspect while we are talking about startups is something which we find in all aspects of life, that is competition. So what is the role of competition, or how important does the competition play in regards to the startup arena? I think this question is for Samuel, sir. Sir, if you could address this question.
I think Faym already touched upon this topic when he was talking about the research side of things. So competition does play a major role in whatever your startup decides, or whatever action or whatever strategy the startup chooses to go forward with. Now, the first impact of competition comes in when you are ideating about your startup. So when the ideation process goes in, right? So you are thinking about solving a particular problem with a particular idea. The first point when you come in touch with competitors is similar other companies doing the same thing, right? So that is where the first impact of competition comes in. Now, over here, people often get short-sighted, thinking that in Bangladesh we do not have competition of this sort. If that is your maximum market that you're targeting, you should be aiming for bigger, right? So if you just analyze your competition in Bangladesh, that is just not enough, because we are expecting the startups to reach beyond the national borders. So in that case, competition from the external market, from the international arena, also become relevant. Now, another aspect of competition is the pitch presentation. So when you are making your pitch, a thorough idea of your competition, both in the local and the international market, becomes very important, because through that, oftentimes the investors get an idea of how much you know about your business and the other businesses. So that shows your ability to find out what other similar companies are doing. So that would be from the ideation part. From the implementation part, how you can come up with something different and better than what the other competitors are doing. So that is also very important. If you don't do a competitor's analysis, you're not going to find out how you can do things differently and better than your competition. So if I were to answer that question, competitors are actually the driving force that keeps you going. Because if you always want to see yourself at least half a step ahead of your competition, you will want to see where your competitors are currently right now. So as Faym was saying, that if you do not look at the rear view mirror, you're in a problem, my friend. So if you do not know where your competitors are, if you do not see whether your competitor is behind you or ahead of you, that's gonna become a major problem. So yeah, competition is like hands down one of the most important driving forces for any startup.
Thank you, Samuel, sir. And I think when it comes to like starting out, I think promotional or PR is a major aspect that a lot of companies try out. But the problem with PR at times is the budget, because most of these companies do not have a high amount of budget. So my question would be to Imam sir down the line. The question would be, how can a startup do its promotional activities on a tight budget? Sir, if you could answer the question.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. It depends on, again, depending on company to company, depending on the fund, depending on the management of the company, how much, like if it's a team of two or three, how much money they have. So before, in the early stage, it will be very difficult for them to acquire like fundraising or investor. So in that case, to minimize the minimum cost for business, for PR, So that I already answered this question in this question number second.
Hmm.
You need a good network of people. Maybe your faculty's network, maybe your friends' network, maybe any celebrity. Like your friend is a celebrity doing sorts of natok or like singing celebrity, maybe in different industry like YouTuber, your friend, your big brother. So that's the booster for you. Like this is the bonus thing. You can minimize or maximize, the amount in the costing from the beginning. Always before that, you need a working capital. Obviously, without working capital, you can't run business. Management fund is also there. Then there's like a continuations of the fund. Like if your strategy one fell, you have strategy two. If your strategy three, if your plan A fell, there till Z portion you can try. There are other alphabet, other strategies. So for startup, first thing, if it's a tech base, so you need a tech people from your management side. Like your friend is a manager, so you grab him. So you don't have to give him or her a salary. So you are minimizing the cost, the big cost as a tech person, because he or she gonna develop the app, he or she gonna do the tech thing, because you need the tech, you need to develop your apps. If you do outsource it, so if you give some share, like maybe 2 or 3%, hey, so I don't have fund now, but if my company is there, I'm giving you 2% stake. So wait for it. Can you do it for me? Because I don't have that much fund. So this is the another way he or she can, the company can do it. Then if you do in a plan wise, like you need a computer, right? So if you use your own computer rather buying a new computer from the day one, so you can, expense can be low from day one. You can use your own gadgets if you use your own phones, like 3 or 4, make a team of 5 people. You guys are friends, maybe big brother or elder brother, doesn't matter. You start minimizing the cost. Hey, from 6 months we will not take salary, let's see how we can do it. Then you can develop a software, main focus ads and PR through YouTube or Facebook, especially in Bangladesh. I think Faym Bappi will agree with me, as he's a co-founder over here. Facebook marketing is a very cheap marketing in Bangladesh. Am I right or wrong? Fine, Bappi. Yeah. So you can do it. Like if you do Facebook marketing, like if you do a feature for one product, it maybe cost from 100 to 150 taka. But if you do that, you can sell this product maybe to a person with 5,000, maybe 4,000, maybe 1,000. So not only 1,000. So I'm talking about one person. So if 5 people buy 5,000, so you can maximize your profit out of it. You can minimize the cost doing the Facebook PR. And another is also important. So taxation. So you have to think about that. You have to pay tax to the government to legalize your business, whatever. If you do profit or loss, you have to show in your performance statement your cash flow projections every year, balance sheet. You have to show what percentage. Although government, Bangladesh government, is also really appreciate the startups. They always encourage with the technology digital, as our PM and our country it's going digital. We go through so many business experience. We have seen so many business seminars, and outsiders, foreign investors, they want to open their plant over here because of the cheap labor cost, and it's not nothing impossible, but it's possible. But in that budget, startup costs and other expenses, you have to minimize with your proper planning. If it's service based, so in Bangladesh it's more about like a service based. So service based এর মধ্যে কিন্তু it comes about like software, then comes about the blogger. You can have a blogger, you don't have to pay that much in the blogger. Then it comes, it's a free of cost sometimes, right? Then FB, Facebook is very cheap marketing for service-based industry, and PR from your peer with your good network. If you have a good friend, hey, can you do it on behalf of? Can you please guys share? Like if you post something in the NSU page, you are a student of NSU. If you want to do something, if you want to, you can easily gather 25,000 students at a time. Even though the alumni in the Facebook group, you can see there are so many groups where you can easily connect to the alumni. their big brother and big sister, they're doing great in overseas as well. So you can easily connect doing anything, post any relevant post based on your business if you want to do share through Facebook. So that's how you can minimize the cost in service-based industry. In Bangladesh, there are like not product based, there's not so many companies, but like for an example, if you want to do something, a product for blind people, like if you want to come up with a stick with a unique product, you can't make so much profit. You are helping the society. Like you coming up with the product, you do the with the blind association with or all the hospital, that you guys can connect and maximize. Hey, I want to sell my 1 lakh piece of this unique product for the blind people, so that can you do it on behalf of me, so I can give 50% off. So this is how you can do with the good communications with the peer, with the company. There are so many startup company, and everyone is ready to help, especially in NSU. As I'm also an NSU alumni, I've seen so many NSU like Patao, Shutter. If you heard of Joe Bike, they're the owner from NSU, so they have a good network. And one thing, although COVID-19 situation all over the world is going very bad, and this situation, service-based industry has played a vital role in everyone's lives. While you can sitting like we are doing a live session because of the technology, it's very easy. Just connect through your phone or laptop. You are connecting every corner of the world. If anyone can see in live. Yeah, that's all about promotional activities on tight budget and all over. I hope I think I have covered. I try to cover
Yes.
in all the aspects. Faym Bappi, as he's here, he know while when he start his own business, how he can control his budget from here. Okay, no, it's going bigger. No, this strategy. So this is the thing. Although it's very difficult because strategy once it's done, your money is gone. Yeah. Thank you.
I think this would be the final question for the panelists from my side. Is that I think this question is for Fahim Bhai. Is that like you were part of the first cohort program of NSU Startups Next. So in regards to making your startup grow or have an outreach, do tell us about the benefits that Hypescout has received through collaboration or by getting mentorship from NSU Startups Next.
Thank you for asking this question because, Startup Next has helped us a lot in a lot of ways that any founder can even think for or ask for. Like they have done a lot for us, but most importantly, they believed in us, they believed in our vision, and they believed that we are capable of doing all the things that we are doing right now. So thanks to Startup Next for all of that. Other than that, I can make a list of 100 things that SN has done for us. For example, they have mentored us, they have arranged external mentorship session for us, which were conducted by the industry experts from all around the globe. We had mentors from Uber, Patao, Google, and from other different types of organizations. So besides all of that, they have given us the moral support whenever we were burnt out by the extreme pressure, right? And we have got financial support as well. I mean, the grant from NSUSN, which has helped us to kickstart our business. And they have helped us, directly in our business by giving feedback, advices, and suggestions. Besides, we have got a huge investor connections from NSUSN. We have got peer exposure on both social media and television media because of SN. They have helped us to be organized and manage everything in a structured manner, and they have also held us accountable by arranging bi-weekly KPI sessions even after the graduation from the program. I have also got to learn a lot of do's and don'ts from the SN team. For example, how should we talk, how should we pitch, what should be our approach on social media, including our profile picture that we use, and a lot of things, right? So I mean, I can go for another hour explaining the things that Startup Next has done for us, but I think you got the gist. And from the Hypescout team, we are really, really grateful to the NSU Startup Next and the team, right, for being with us throughout the journey. So thank you for everything.
Thank you so much, Faym Bhai. And before we wrap up this session, I feel that we had got a lot of viewers who was a part of us from the beginning of the session, and we would like to do a bit of Q&A session to address some of the questions that our viewers has asked. So to start off the questionnaire, I think we have a question from Zaka Zishan Saib. Her question is, could you talk a bit about the steps of NSU Startups Next? I think she wants to know the program. So I think Samuel, sir, if you could answer the question.
So by steps, I think we actually have two sides of things. So we have the application process, and then we have the processes like the steps after we onboard the team. So I'm not sure which steps Ms. Zishan is talking about, but I'll just briefly touch upon both sides. So for applications, it's open now. So all you have to do is go to the website of NSU Startups Next and fill out the form. So over there, you're going to get a ton of questions. You just have to fill them out. You're going to have to talk about your startup, the business model, the just basic stuff, right? So you just answer the questions and we get the application. And after that, we screen those applications based on our criteria of, like, there are tons. So we have scalability, we have the business idea, we have the product. So internally, we focus on these KPIs when we evaluate these startups. So after these screenings, we take these startups to the main incubation program. So over there, we have the mentorship sessions with the mentors from the local and international arena. And if the startups need one-on-one sessions with these mentors, we also organize them. And the startups sit down with the internal SN team, which we call as the KPI session once a week. So we have a strict set KPIs that week by week the startups have to achieve. So that would be another step in the entire process. And the incubation process is roughly around 3.5 to 4 months. So during this time, if the startups show enough progress in the KPIs that we have predetermined for each, we usually graduate them. But if they show enough progress, but they are still not good enough to run the startup independently, we carry them forward to a bridge program. So bridge program is for those startups in cohort 1 who need further support after the incubation program. So we do not have one size fits all for all the startups. So we monitor each startup according to their own benchmarks. So if there is a startup that needs further guidance beyond this 4 months of incubation, we carry these startups to the bridge program, apologies. And in that bridge program, we provide them with further support. And then eventually we graduate the bridge teams with cohort 2. And yeah, that would be it. And for the other startups who are doing good in the local arena, we have this another program called the pre-incubation, where we bring in startups from our personal network to find out if they're good enough or not. If they're good enough, we give them a fast track to the main incubation program. So yeah, those are the steps in a nutshell.
All right. I think the next question is something I think, sir, you touched upon a bit. Does NSU Startups Next provide mentorship? I believe it does. I think that's the answer of the question. I think next we have another important question from Rifa Faria. Would we get any funding if we participate for our startups? I think in NSU Startups Next, I think that's probably her question.
So yeah, if you show significant progress during the incubation period, you will get the grant that is provided by North-South University. But again, that also depends on whether you can match the KPIs that we set for you. So if you keep on achieving those KPIs, we will slowly release the grants as per the needs of the startups. So yeah, there is an initial grant funding available from North-South University.
All right. I think this next question is question from Asif sir. How can someone with no fund start a business? I think, sir, Imam sir, I think this one is for you. If you could address
Yeah,
this.
so without fun, very interesting question. Thank you for that. Without fun, I think it's impossible. You need your own fun. Maybe maybe from your dad or relative or what. So you need money. If you have a plan, although বাংলা একটা কথা আছে ব্যবসা করতে টাকা লাগে না. So if you have a good business idea, you can go to your friends or anyone. Hey, this is my idea, but I don't have anything. I want to do business, but this is a perfect catch. This is the time. Like in COVID-19 situation, if I'm not wrong, there are so many people sell masks, air purifier, and so many stuffs through online because of the demand in the market. So he or she, he never plans for it. So all of a sudden, demand creates up, right? So that's why, like in the Canada or in the US or in any market, every store got closed. Only the departmental store and the grocery store have done business. Also for Bangladesh as well, through all the grocery shop do the online grocery delivery and that. So you need a perfect timing. All the businesses don't know time like, but you need fun, at least a little bit of fun by yourself or maybe from your relative, maybe your family, friends or something, to start a business. Sometimes you can sell that idea to, hey, I have this idea, but I don't have any fun for me, but I want to be a partner. I want to do all the strategy and all. Can you take risks with my idea? If it's loss, it's fine, but can you take me risks with my idea? If it's that, then you can do it without funds. I think
Thank
you got, yeah.
Thank you, sir, for answering the question. I think we have two sets of questions quite similar. I think this would be for Faym bhai. So the first question is, what is the work of NSU startups with influencers? I think this was in accordance to the answer that Faym bhai gave. And I think the second question would and probably explain this one. Could you please tell what exactly is Hypescout? So Faym bhai, if you could tell a bit about your company as per what is Hypescout.
Right. So Hypescout is basically, an influencer marketing platform where any local brands or international brands can come and look for, micro or celebrity influencers in our platform. And throughout the process, while collaborating with the brands, the influencers of our country can also, earn a good amount of money, to support their channel and their pocket money, right? So that's the overall idea that we started while working with, starting a Hypescout. And my vision or how I think about influencer marketing, being a marketer, is like, I believe everyone can be an influencer because, probably I am just a person, but I have 5 of my friends whom I can influence to buy a product, right? And so if I can influence 5 people, I can see like there are another 500 bunch of people who can, influence 5,000 people. And there's like other people who can influence 50,000 people, right? So I believe everybody can be an influencer, and that was the idea that I thought there should be there should be a platform where, every micro influencers can even join. And by the word micro influencers, what I mean is anybody who has at least 1,000 follower on their Instagram account can join our platform and promote the brands like Patao, brands like Bikash and XYZ. So they can promote those brands and earn a small amount, a good amount of money, because the remuneration or the pricing depends on the follower count that you have, and also the engagement rate you have with your audiences, right? So our smart algorithm decides the price for you. But if you think that you can ask for a better price, then we have the option for you to make a request of that, right? So that you can review and update your price. So yeah, basically it's an influencer marketing platform where the social media users who have a substantial amount of followers on their account can join and earn money through collaborating with the brands. So that's Hypescout in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Faym. And I feel this is the final question. I think Samuel sir can answer this. Can freshers apply for this program? As in, can freshers apply for NSU Startups Next?
So the only criteria that we have for the founding team of NSUSN is one of the members have to be from NSU. So it doesn't matter if the person is a fresher, or if the person is in the first year, or if the person is an alumni. As long as you have some connection with NSU, as long as you're an existing student or a past student, you can apply. So if you have, say, for example, 3 members in the founding team, one of them is from NSU and 2 others are from other universities, you can still apply for NSUSN. So the only requirement is one of the members from the founding team has to be either a current student or an alumni. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Samuel, sir, for answering this question. And to all our viewers who's currently watching this show, I would like to inform you guys that April 17th is the deadline for the second cohort program of NSU Startups Next. You can obviously get to learn and get to know more about it through the Facebook page of NSU Startups Next. So if you're someone who has a brilliant idea, if you're someone who already has a startup but needs a bit of little extra push, please do not hesitate to apply to NSU Startups Next second cohort program. I think Faym is the prime example as per how his company benefited from the first cohort phase. And with that being said, I would like to thank Imam sir, Samuel sir, and Faym Bhaiya for joining in this particular session, giving us valuable insights and answering all our questions. So thank you to all our panelists for today's session. I hope all of you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Zidan. Pleasure is all ours.
Yeah, thank you, Zidan.
Thank you so
once again.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. And with that being said, it's a good night from us. Thank you so very much to all the viewers who had tuned into our session. Thank you so very much, and it's a good night.